Greetings everyone. At this point you will see that this week's project is going to encompass creating your Active Directory domain controllers that you specified on your Visio drawings the last 2 weeks. I will be giving some more feedback to those that have gotten it in this weekend, but for some of you, you are ready to build, and we will be using NetLab for that. The address for NetLab is netlab.valenciacollege.edu. And you want to put in your supplied username and password. If you've forgotten these, please contact me today via email. Don't go through Blackboard, go via email, and I will make sure I reset your passwords or try to get your credentials out to you. I think most of you know what they are. So I'm going to supply my username and my password. I went ahead and asked Angel to give us the ability to have everyone to have their own pod. Now, for you, you'd go into Scheduler. Even though if you go into Scheduler, you're going to see that you're only going to have one pod available. That's your pod. The reason I did this was that all the changes that you make on the 3 servers that you have in this pod will stay persistent, meaning whatever you do will not go away. So the client, though, is literally just there for testing. And what we're going to do is each week from this point until the end of the class, you're going to be adding in a different element of the project. So this week, we're going to be building our Active Directory domain controller. And next week, guaranteed, you're going to be building your file server and creating the file shares and resources needed for all of the Active Directory groups. And then the following week, you'll be making another server. And some of you will have only 2 servers, and some of you will have to make 3 servers. But the truth is we're going to do this in steps. But each week you're going to have a specific project that you're going to have to do. So we will be covering the creation of your domain, the creation of Active Directory this week. Next week it's going to be file server and file server resources. You will get an activity on group policy. And again, with the group policy, that's what we need the client for, is that we can log in as these specific users and see that the items that we're working on is actually working correctly. So this week, all I want you to do is build your Active Directory domain controller. So we're going to click on Server 1, and everybody's Server 1 should be the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and I bring up my they're already pre-built. I had already logged in. You will notice that on one of the slides of the presentation it tells you how to log into the server. It is capital P, lowercase a, 55W0RD. So you can actually see that you can log into them. So you actually will start out with a server, and you can add the role. So I want you to, and these are basically blank, so these have nothing on them. The one thing that you will notice is that if you go into computer, and I take that back, well, these are just regular servers. So you actually can go in, and I want you to add the role of Active Directory Domain Services. Now, prior to starting that, the one thing I noticed that's not working on these is the OOBE, and it's going to tell you, oh, it came up. Okay, good. So first step to ever planning a domain is to go into this out-of-box experience. This is the first screen that's supposed to pop up when you create a Windows server. And this one says do not show on at log on, and I actually like seeing it. The reason why is this is one of the screenshots that I always ask students to give me, because the fact that it shows me everything that you've done so far. These are not activated, and I'm going to have to explain that to you right now. Right now they have a 30-day activation, so in about a month's time I'm going to tell you all, or less than a month's time, I'm going to tell you all to activate these servers, probably because we don't want to lose them. So, but you want to go in, and the time zone's already set. You want to go in and make sure you configure your network settings. Now this is up to you. Based on your diagram, you're going to go in here and you're going to set your IPv4. I do recommend, actually this is R2, so you're okay. So go into IPv4 and give it a static IP address. You can't add Active Directories unless you do. So you've got a subnet mask, and we have to specify our domain controller. So now once you've actually got an IP address on this, then you can actually go into your roles, and I just went ahead and knocked myself out. Awesome. Alright, so at least it saves everything I'm doing, so you can see that I very quickly got back into it. So I'm going to go back into my roles, and once you have a static IP address, and it's really important that you do give it a static IP address, because I didn't take it. Because you can't load Active Directory on it unless, I mean, it gets DNS. And DNS is very critical for us, so. Alright, there it goes. Then, as you notice, provide network name and domain name. The reason why I wanted you to give me a diagram with the NetBIOS names is that's what these are. I want you to provide the name of the server. Please, 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 do not name your server the same thing as your domain. You don't want to name all your servers the same. If you're doing, some of you have Metro Entertainment, none of them should be named after any of the users that are in your organization. Be creative and think of something. I mean, if you want to call it, use the initials for East, and then the initials for your company, Metro Entertainment, East, M, E, DC. I don't care. I don't care what you name it. Just do not name it a common name that you have associated in your company. It is really, DNS can't understand if you have a company named John, and so you call your domain John, and then you have a user named John, and you have another resource named John. So it's looking for it based off of the name John, and it's like going, well, which John do I have to go to? Is that the domain controller John, or is that the user John, or is that the shared folder named John? So be very clear about your naming. Just be very specific about what you want. So prior to Active Directory, go in, make sure. If you don't see this screen, hit Start, type in O, and then the screen will come up. So make sure that you have a network configured and you give it a good computer name. Otherwise, you're going to have to remember this, and this is not what you want to do. Once you actually get this in, it's a good idea to go ahead and provide, do a restart. We're not going to worry about the updates. And then once you're done with the number ones, then you're going to go down to number 3, and you're going to add the role. So that's why this screen is nice, because you can add a role and go right to Server Manager from here. So this week, like I said, you're only going to be adding Active Directory. You're going to be building all of your OUs, all of your groups, and all of your users. So you're going to be building that one diagram I wanted you to do. I want you to build out that entire diagram. So is it going to, take you a little time? You know, a couple hours. I don't think more than that. But, you know, depends on how detailed. So that diagram, we use those diagrams to, first of all, a brand new person comes in, we can just show them our diagram and say, here, this is our Active Directory, our topology. This is what we have. This is how we have it laid out. Do those diagrams eventually need to be updated? They sure do. And prior to the end of the course, you'll be updating them again. So it's a work in progress that we keep updating, so we have an idea of exactly all the resources that we have on our network. So I just wanted to give you a little update on this. So again, once these close out, you're going to see the fact that I can go back into it. You haven't lost anything. In fact, it should, if you log out for the session, you might have to log back in. Otherwise, it goes ahead and it sends me back to where I was. So that's what I need. What I also need is screenshots today. So, I mean, for this week. You're going to give me a screenshot of the OOBE, because I want to see the fact that you've named your computer based on how you've got it named on your diagram. I want to see that your TCP/IP address is the same as you have it on your diagram. And then I'm going to be taking your Active Directory diagram, and I'm going to be seeing if you've created every single user and placed them in the appropriate groups based on your active diagram. So the reason why I make you do those diagrams is for me, so I can compare what you originally sent to what you're actually doing right now. So if you have any problems or need help, just contact me. All right? Take care, and I'll have some more communication throughout the week. Bye.